Clone Wars references, Palpatine, and connections to the Crimson Dawn. Maul Shadow Lord episodes 7 and 8 were some of the best that we've gotten so far. Only 2 episodes left, but we are here today to be talking about 7 and 8. Roman, these episodes, man, they were a mile a minute. The fights are just getting better and better, especially when they're adding another Inquisitor to the fold with Marok. We're getting the Crow guy now. And these guys are just super creepy. So let's jump into episode 7. So this picked up from where episode 6 left off, right after the train fight with Marok. And Devon's in the tunnels with Riley and Maul. And she's kind of confused. Like, should we follow Maul? Should we run away? And what I liked about this whole interaction is the whole time that Devon's still questioning, is Maul there to kill her or to be a villain? Or is he there to help her? And Maul continues to try to get her on his side. But what I really loved is that he just kind of snapped at one point and was like, he was basically like, you need to stop acting like your ideals are better than mine. And he just like attacked her. And I love that. But this whole episode was really just about them trying to get off world, and then the Inquisitors showing up. And then there was a lot of different battles going on. Like Riley got kidnapped by the Empire, Devon escaped, and then you had the whole thing where Maul fought the Inquisitors, and which was the best part of the episode, in my opinion. You finally get to the end, and he fights Marok and the Crow by himself, and he gets injured. They mess up his leg. They sever the cords inside his mechanical leg, and you really get to see Maul here fight for his life, really for the first time.
Definitely shows some of the most emotion we've seen from Maul in any version of the character, live action or animation. These were the most intense episodes of the show so far.
Yeah,
and one of my favorite parts from episode 7, and it was such a little thing, such a for me such a writery thing that I loved, is they're not writing this like an animated show. They're writing this like a high budget live action show.
Yeah,
and when they're following Maul through the tunnel after the train fight, Riley's like, who even is this guy? And him and Devon are going back and forth. And then from far in front of them, I can't remember the words he says exactly, but Maul's basically like, let me help you out. And then it pans down the way to him, and he's not even turned around to face them. He's still going away from them.
Yeah.
And as a writer, and like visually, I love when like two characters are having a conversation and not looking at each other. And so when that happened, I was just like, oh, that's awesome. And there were so many little things. And you mentioned it, the Inquisitor fights were outrageous.
What I love about that ending fight in the cave, because we kind of get this whole chase up until that point. We lose some of the Mandalorians. We see a big firefight going on the bridge. Maul goes off on his own. And what I loved about that is that they said, Palpatine wants you dead, or the Emperor wants you dead. And in that moment, a lot of people think that he was trying to surrender. I believe Maul knew that there was an exit, even though he was injured. And he raised up his hands to get in a vulnerable position. And when they said that, he snapped, and he was just like, likewise. And then that's when he brought down the cave. And then obviously that ends before episode 8. But what I love about that is that like you really saw that Maul was realizing that he actually has a weakness. And when his legs were severed, he was struggling. And we've never really seen him struggle. Even against the fight against Obi-Wan, he was confident he was going to beat him back in Phantom Menace. And so to finally see him kind of realize that like everything's kind of crashing down around him, and we see what that after like that impact in episode 8, which we'll talk about. But I just love that they really brought Maul from this very confident crime syndicate lord to now we're finally seeing all the stuff that he's been trying to mask from everybody else.
Yeah, and it really leads into episode 8 well, because at the end of 7, we see the death of one of the brothers. And it done in an incredible way. Again, going back to they do this not like an animated show, but like a real show where like you see the saber and then you see the crow.
Yeah.
And it just like these little moments of how can we ramp up the intensity? How can we make this sting more?
Yeah.
And so then episode 8 picks up right after that when he brings down the rock. So yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. And I love that we get to see the motivations of everybody involved, especially with like the Mandalorians. They were questioning Maul because they weren't getting their money. They try to go off on their own, and then they realize, and then they obviously got killed. I even was like, they're going to get shot down. And so to see that happen, like everything's kind of falling apart around them. And you really see the crushing weight of the Empire, even for somebody who is so powerful. And so, let's jump to episode 8, because, when the Crow killed one of the brothers, you know for a fact that Maul thought of his brother Savage, because he was realizing in that moment that he let another one of his kind die. And so all episode 8 had a lot of stuff going on, especially with Devon and Docky and Lawson. But the crux of episode 8 and my favorite scenes of the show, in my opinion, are the stuff with Maul when he's just stumbling through the caves and the tunnels trying to survive with a broken leg. And he's having flashbacks of when Palpatine came and got him as a kid. He's having flashbacks of Savage dying. He even had a glimpse of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fight. Like you saw the guy jump with the green saber, which was Qui-Gon, and you heard him say Kenobi. Mm-hmm. And so he's having this like traumatic breakdown of all the things he tried to like conquer and mask and how he had failed. And he's realizing that none of it was enough to stop Palpatine. This is all about revenge against Palpatine because he's so broken from what Palpatine did to him. And I love there's two shots that are reflections. He's looking in the water. One of them, he sees himself and he says, "I hate you." And he splashes the water. And then at the end of the episode, he sees his reflection of his younger self as a kid. And he says, "I'm so sorry." And then the kid responds back like, "It's not your fault." And then it was like he was coming to realization that like everything that happened to him he had no power over it. And I think he had blamed himself for the longest time.
Yeah, you're correct. That was some of the best stuff. Like I mentioned, it was some of the most emotion we'd ever seen from Maul. There was another moment I think it was in this episode, or at least in these two episodes, but there was another moment with Devon where I believe we're already starting to see her. Docky said in a previous episode, "You're starting to sound like Maul."
Yeah.
Like that's something Maul would say. We're starting to see her kind of embrace different things, and there was a moment in this episode where she's gonna take the ship.
Yeah.
And she's outnumbered to the 3-1, and they literally have her arms pinned, and you see right before it cuts away, she goes, "Huh." And then it cuts away with the three of them on the ground, and then she's taking the ship. And I think, this is just me speculating, the reason we don't see that happen is because all of the instances really that we've seen in Star Wars where somebody completely wins in an outnumbering situation is when they have to give in to anger.
Yeah.
And I saw a separate standalone short a long time ago about talking about times when Obi-Wan used anger and like gave into the dark side, and it mentioned the fight against Maul because he couldn't have beat him without it. And so I think this moment for her to basically win the 3-on-1 and take the ship, I think that was the moment where she needed to tap into her anger.
Yeah, I mean, we all know, obviously, like, fear is the path to the dark side type quote that Yoda says. And there's a quote, it's actually in episode 7, that Devon says to Riley. He says that I was afraid, and she said, "That's okay, everyone gets afraid. You just can't let it control you, consume you." And I felt like that quote was for all the characters in the show, because you have the situation where Devon's scared of what's happening around her and wants to protect her master. And she's kind of questioning if Maul's tactics are going to help her overcome that fear. And so it's probably why she's starting to act like that. And then also the fear that Maul has had this entire time. I mean, Maul's the way he is because he's feared this entire time that he's going to be controlled by Palpatine, or he's going to lose what was special to him, like his brother and his mother. And so fear is something that has been shadowing this entire show, and everyone has been consumed with it, or like it's been hovering over them. And now they're finally having to address it with the Empire looming over. And so I really love that she said that, because Star Wars has always been about hope in the face of adversity and hope in the face of fear and overcoming that, or and having faith in in this instance the Force that's going to guide them out of that. But yeah, the fights in episode 8 with the chase between when they rescued Riley from the police station, and then the chase scenes were so well done and so much fun. And I love that like Docky had come out the back of the speeder, and there was a stormtrooper on a speeder bike flying at him, and he raises him up with the Force, and he flies into the Republic gunship.
Yeah, it was so
and
awesome.
It blows up, and I was like, holy crap! Like the way they're portraying the Force powers in this show are really showing you the power of the Jedi and like and Force wielders and how they're using this. It was just so well done. It's like it just was every beat that they were doing paid off the character motivations. Even like Two Boots, the droid, he finally got his redemption to save Riley.
How did you know it was me? I'm not wearing my boots.
Yeah.
That was a great line.
Yeah, so good. One of the things I also love about these episodes is Lawson. They finally they wrote a male character who is a strong father figure, who is sticking to his integrity and would do anything for his son. And you know, don't get me wrong, like we don't really see that much anymore. Like,
Yeah.
And so I think every character in the show I actually have come to love. They like usually new characters in Star Wars and that kind of thing. You're like, oh, I don't really like that new character.
At the very least, they take some getting used to.
It takes some getting used to, and so but I'm like, I actually like these characters. I think these guys are really well done, and so I'm really excited to see what the last two episodes are in store. I think Maul is going to go all out now, and we do see at the end of episode 8 that there is a callback to Solo, or not a callback. It's actually later in the timeline, but obviously in Solo we see Crimson Dawn.
There's a connection.
Dryden Voss, yeah, there's a connection. And at the end of Solo, we see that Maul is there talking to Kira. So Vario mentions that Crimson Dawn wants a word with Maul, Dryden Voss. So I think we're going to see Paul Bettany's character, Dryden Voss, in the show, possibly Emilia Clarke's character, and then it would be super cool if we got a Han Solo connection too. Any last thoughts?
No, I mean, the only thing is, like, I'm bummed we only have 2 more episodes of season 1. Like, this has been such a fun ride. And it keeps getting more intense. So I cannot wait to see what the final 2 episodes of the season, unveil. Will we see the Emperor in the finale? Will we see Vader, or is that a season 2 possibility?
Yeah.
Will we see the Grand Inquisitor? Like, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
That's the big question.
No, I'm excited. We'd love to know what you think out there about these 2 episodes. What were your favorite parts? What did you like about this show so far? Are you excited for the end? And what do you think is going to happen? So like this video, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss another review from us. We're going to be doing much more Star Wars as we move forward. So thank you guys for watching. We do appreciate it. May the Force be with you.